Hey folks, it's Mike and Angel with Retro RV Recon, and today I'm going to talk to you guys about our tow vehicle behind me. It's a Ram 1500 and it has a 5.7 liter engine in it. The camper is half of the maximum capacity of the truck as far as towing, so we're right there in the sweet spot, right in the middle. When I got the truck, I didn't even have a camper. I had no idea I was going to have a camper. So once we bought the camper, I realized there are a few modifications I needed to make to the truck. When we started towing this camper, I had right about 60,000 miles on the truck. Now I have a total of 120,000 miles on the truck. So we made a few modifications to the truck since those 60,000 miles, like the airbags for the suspension and the air brakes for helping to stop, because that's kind of important. And I'll get into more detail about that in a second. But you know, it's a good truck. This particular Ram is in excellent condition. I maintain it just like the book says. And I'm going to talk about things that I like and don't like about the truck as a tow vehicle. So come on.
Here we go.
We're towing our retro RV with a 2017 Ram 1500 Bighorn. It has the 5.7 liter, or for you old school folks, it's right about a 350 cubic inch. The truck's towing capacity is right around 10,000 pounds, and the camper is right at 4,000 pounds. So I have plenty of room for plenty of room to tow more. I have a maximum cargo capacity in this pickup at right around 1,800 pounds. So once I put the camper on here, the tongue weight is under 500 pounds. I'll just round it up to 500 pounds. And that leaves me with another 600 pounds or so of cargo to put in the back of the truck. And I don't put that much, maybe a couple of 100 pounds more. But I'm still well under the cargo capacity and the towing capacity. Okay, so speaking of the camper and having it hooked up and going down the road, I'm going to show you guys something that I do that might be a little different. I keep my tools and whatever little maintenance things I need for the camper in the storage bins in the back of the truck. I don't keep them in the camper because I don't want the camper to smell like tools or grease or oil, and especially the items that I have in this clear container, which is all of the sewer connections. I keep the sewer connections in a clear container so it's easily identifiable. I don't accidentally grab the wrong one, because you don't want to grab the sewer container when you don't have your gloves on. So when I do need to get something out of the back of the truck, you might think I'm not going farming. I'm not going to go dig in the dirt or anything like that. What I am going to do
is use my wife's handy dandy rake.
What I am going to do is I'm going to use my wife's handy dandy rake that she has lost. I said, hey baby, you want a rake or you want to go camping?
You do use it a lot more than I do, but I think this is a cool way to use the rake.
So I just reach in here and grab it.
And pull it forward.
Pull it forward. Set it right there.
And you don't have to climb in the bed of your truck.
And voila. And then when I'm done, and if everything goes well, I'll never have to touch these.
That's your toolbox?
But anyway.
What's in that box that you'll never have to touch?
No, if everything goes well, I won't ever have, because these are just tools for emergencies. Or tools for anything breaking down. So if I don't have to go in this container or the one in the back, that's a good day. And then I can just use the same rake and set that. And I can take this rake and drag this one out. And you know, we don't want to touch that one. So in putting all of this stuff in the back, not only am I distributing the weight well in the cab, I'm also not putting that weight in the camper. And you know, you want to be as light as possible. And when there's less weight in the camper, there's less weight on the tongue, which is the goal. Another thing that I do, and you see that rake fits in there, right? shoving it all the way to the back like that helps the ride. You know, you have all the weight to the front, you distribute it in between the two tires, so you don't have all of the weight on just the back axle. It's split up. And then the payload on this truck is right at 1,500 pounds, and the towing capacity of this truck is right at 10,000 pounds, and the towing weight of the camper is 400 pounds. So that gives us right about 1,100 pounds of cargo. Now, when you put you and me in there, and then stuff in the back seat in there, well, that you got to take away that. So, and then these 3 boxes back here, I'm going to say the 3 of them, and I'm just going to round up to a good even number, are 100 pounds. So we're well below our cargo capacity. So I use this crate for immediate items. I have my water connections in here, and I have this plug in here, and that's it. There's nothing else. Just go on that and gloves. When we disconnect or connect, I put my chocks right here. I put the what do you call that thing?
It's the support doohickey.
Okay, yeah. So when we're getting ready to tow, I put the chocks right here, and I put all the supports for the camper over here. You know, whether it be stabilizing bricks or whatever. Everything else goes right here, so that when we back into the campsite, it's right there. I don't have to fight. I don't have to dig in containers. It's all ready to go. And this crate can stay in the back of the truck. It's a little bitty. It's light. I can move it around. And often we have room for doing it this way. That frees up a lot of space. You can see this right here. We're ready to go camping with everything in the back of this. We don't have to do anything in the camper. I don't have to do anything other than add these. We're ready to go. And you can see there's a lot of space. So we could put a grill. We could put some chairs back there. Maybe an ice chest with a few things in it. All good to go.
Our zero gravity chairs.
Zero gravity chairs. This pickup has an 8-speed transmission. And when I'm towing, of course, I put it tow mode, tow haul mode, and I use the gear limiter. And I'll typically on flat ground, I limit the transmission to the 6th gear. If I don't do that, it goes into 7th gear and it starts to shift a lot. And I just don't feel comfortable when the transmission has to work more than it needs to. So I leave it in. So I limit the gears to 6th gear. So when we're going up and down small hills, the transmission won't have to work so hard. Going in mountainous areas, well, you can't help that. You're going to be shifting gears. This 5.7 liter pulling the camper, I get about, on flat ground, I get around 11 to 13 miles to the gallon. When I don't have the camper, I probably can average around 20 to 23 miles to the gallon. And I do a lot of commuting, a lot of highway miles, so very little city miles. Of course, most of you know. If you don't, I'll say it anyway. The tow haul mode doesn't do a whole lot. You know, it doesn't give it more horsepower or anything. The tow haul mode, really all it does is it changes your shifting, your transmission shifting, so that it's easier on the engine and the transmission don't have to work so hard. We have used this truck and towed our camper from Louisiana to North Carolina. We hit the Smoky Mountains, and it was pretty much a piece of cake. We had gone up there about a year ago with the camper. That was our first trip to the Smoky Mountains, and I was concerned. I wasn't sure. I'd never done it before, so I was new to towing in the mountains. 6 months ago, we took a nice vacation to the Southwest, and we went through Arizona and Colorado, and the southern end of Colorado has the San Juan Mountains, And those mountains are pretty good, and they're pretty high, you know, I would say probably 12 to 13,000 feet. And while towing the camper on our way home, we went through Wolf Creek Pass in Colorado. And that pass has a 7% grade, just probably a little under 7% grade. And this truck did great for that. On the way up, I probably did 35 miles an hour at its steepest point. And the truck didn't, you know, as far as the coolant temperature, the transmission temperature, all of that stayed well within the normal limits, normal range. On the downhill, in tow haul, your transmission will drop down to keep your speed down. However, I did use the trailer brakes to keep us slower. And you know, I would use the trailer brakes. Going downhill, the transmission did a lot of the work to keep the truck at steady speed. However, I did have to use the trailer brakes and the truck brakes occasionally to keep from going too fast. What I did going downhill, I would try to stay at 35 miles an hour, and then I would let the truck run up to 45 miles an hour before I hit any kind of brakes. So I would do the trailer brakes first to get down to 35, then I'd stop, and the next time I needed to use the brakes, I'd use the truck brakes. That way I kind of went back and forth. I didn't want to overheat any one or the other. But the bottom line is the truck did great. Going uphill, going up the grade, going down the grade. The crew cab is excellent. This is just really a good pickup truck for what we use it for. As far as the trailer brakes, I had the dealership, the RV dealership, install the trailer brakes because I didn't have any on here. I didn't do any research on the trailer brakes, so I just had them put in what they thought was best. And I think they put in the most inexpensive trailer brake. I'm not too crazy about it. I'm not going to go into what name it is and any kind of input other than I don't like it. So you can do a lot of research yourself and find out what's a good trailer brake that suits you better. Because I'm just pulling a light camper. However, I would definitely suggest you get trailer brake for a dual axle camper. Another thing that we added after the fact, when we got the camper we're driving now, the Retro, is this brake controller. It didn't come with one. The truck itself has a tow package, but it did not come with a brake controller. So we had the dealership install this. I personally don't really like this one because it's really sensitive and the adjustments are difficult. If I had to do it again, I would do the research and order my own. The Airlift 500 airbags help to keep the truck, prevent the truck from squatting down with a load. And to me, the most important part is when you're traveling down the road, pulling the camper, you notice when you're on kind of rough road, the back end of the truck will dip. You know, if you hit a dip in the road, it'll drop down and maybe even hit your stoppers. The airbags stop that from happening, or at least minimize it. So we were on some pretty rough roads. We've been on some pretty rough roads where I feel like the airbags were absolutely worth their money. You can get the Airlift 500 airbags for under $400, and I had a shop install these. I didn't want to do it. So the reason I got the airbags is when you drive down the interstate and you hit some dips, the back end of the truck goes way down. It pushes it down a pretty good bit, and the airbags stiffen that up so it doesn't push down on the suspension so much. And also, it also levels the truck up so that my camper can ride level, my truck can ride level, which is best for driving. You know, it keeps it a whole lot safer that way. But remember, if you do get airbags, I did have to swap this out I did have a 2-inch drop. I'm sorry, I had a 2-inch lift on it before, because when it would squat down, when I added the camper to the back of the truck, it would squat down enough that this would have been too high. I mean, too low. But with the airbags, it picked it all up, and I had to swap this out.
And that's where you put the air in right there, right?
Yep. I use a bicycle pump, and I pump that up to between 15 and 20 pounds of pressure in each one. And when the camper is not connected to it, I just drop it back down to about 5 psi. I opted for the manual inflation because I couldn't see spending an extra $300 when I just pump this up with a bicycle top. I run about 15 pounds of air in each one, and it's really good if you're going down a kind of bumpy interstate. It keeps you from wanting to bottom out. With the airbags, I usually run anywhere from 10 to 20 pounds of air in the airbags, depending on how far we're going, what kind of terrain I expected we'll be in, interstate or back roads. Back roads, I put more air in it because it's unpredictable. Interstates are more predictably decent driving, except if you're in southeast New Mexico. Those roads are horrible. But airbags, I would definitely do it. A lot of people complain about the airbags when they're not towing. I drop all the air out of the airbags when I'm not towing. They suggest you leave 5 pounds of pressure in the airbags. I don't do that because it is a stiff ride, and I tow so much, I don't think I'm doing any damage. So it's a little bit stiffer without the camper on the back, but to me, it's worth the trade-off. When I'm pulling the camper, often I use the cruise control. If I'm on the interstate, I use the cruise control. I set it at 65 miles an hour and roll with it. Of course, my camper, the camper we have, the tires are rated for no more than 65 miles per hour. So I stay at 65 miles an hour. Maybe a little more than that when I'm passing somebody up, if I ever have to do that. So since we're talking about tires, I got to tell you that we just recently had a flat tire on our camper, it was really nice that it didn't happen on the road. You'd really be scared if you have a blowout on the truck or the camper. And just a note for you guys that might be new to pulling a camper. Remember that the majority of the tires on a camper have a speed rating, and a lot of them are 65 miles an hour. You can't tow a trailer that has tires with a speed rating of 65 miles an hour at 75 miles an hour and expect something not to go wrong. There's a reason that they spec them out for 65 miles an hour. Be on the safe side. Follow the directions of the manufacturer on your tires and drive it no more than 65 if that's what the speed rating is.
We have seen people towing campers much heavier than ours, passing us up on the interstate when we're doing 65, and we worry. It's dangerous, right?
Yes.
And we had that confirmed by the tire guys that came to our campsite and chained and fixed our tire for us. They were telling us, expressing to us how that's why people keep having these flat tires on their campers, because they're not following their tire rating.
Yeah, the belts
suggested manufacturer
start getting warped and fall apart, and I mean you can't expect something to last if you're going to misuse it. And this is maybe silly as it may sound. Tires are like that. You misuse a tire, it's going to fail on you, and you don't want it to fail when you're driving down the road at 75 miles an hour with your family in the back seat.
And other people's families on the road.
Yeah, and other people. I've talked to people that have campers that tell me, oh yeah, well I stay at 75 miles an hour and going down the road, and I asked them if they know what the speed rating of their tire is, and they say, I don't know. I didn't know they had a speed rating.
It's not bragging rights when you're doing something that is not safe. Right? No, I mean, I'm talking about those people who think it's awesome to go 75 towing a camper. Just because you can doesn't mean it's the right thing to do.
I do have aftermarket tow mirrors, and I picked them up at Camping World. They were really inexpensive. Both of them, they're just snap-on tow mirrors. Both of them cost right about $50 for the two of them. I'm not wild about them, but they're better than the stock. And one of the little upgrades I did was, because the camper is kind of wide, the mirrors on that truck really weren't that good for towing a wider camper. So I bought aftermarket mirror, side mirror extenders. Come on, I'll show you what that looks like. So this particular extender is specific to this Ram pickup truck, and it just clips on. And this is for the right side. Let me show you the left side. I already have it on. I'm gonna take it off real quick, and you'll see it goes on just as easy as it comes off. Just pull down this little latch, peel it up, and that's it. Voila, just like that. And both of these were right about $40 to $50. Tell you what, I'm gonna leave it off because I'm really not going anywhere.
Okay.
I'm not going camping yet.
Not today.
It was either spend $50 on the aftermarket clip-ons or $400 for tow mirrors. And, well, I got the aftermarkets. Something, if you're new to towing, since this 18-wheeler's passing me up, if you're new to towing, or new to towing a camper, know that when an 18-wheeler is passing you up, and he's going faster than you, this one I just did it, the one that just passed me up, isn't a big deal. But when they're going faster than you, a lot of times the air pressure, the change in air pressure will try to suck you over to their lane. So just be aware of that. And it doesn't have to be an 18-wheeler. I find driving in traffic on the 3-lane or the 6-lane highways, 3 on this side, 3 on the other side. When I'm riding in the middle, the cars flying by on either side have a tendency to pull you over to the lane they're coming in. And that's kind of spooky. It's not so bad on the interstate like I'm driving right now, because it's only 1 lane. But in bigger cities, when you come approaching bigger cities and you have the 3 lanes, and I'm driving in the center lane, the cars flying by, they will pull you over, and it's kind of rough. The best thing, well, not the best thing, something you can do is keep up with the flow of traffic, but a lot of the times that traffic is driving way faster than I am, and I don't want to exceed the maximum tire speed. Right now, I'm on the interstate. I'm driving 65 miles an hour, and I have my gear limiter on and limiting at 6th gear. I'm about to go up through a couple of little hills, and you may hear the engine rev up and because the transmission downshifted. Let's see if it does it. So I have the transmission limited at 6th gear, so maybe you hear the transmission downshift and the engine rev up. Let's see. There we go. So you heard the transmission downshift, the engine rev up. You downshifted to 5th gear, and it wasn't much of a hill. But anyway, I just wanted you to hear that. I don't know if you could hear the engine rev up or not. So all of that while the cruise control is on. Okay. How about this, love? How about you tell them what you like about this Ram 1500?
I will tell you what I like as a passenger. This side of the vehicle, it's very spacious, very roomy. There's lots of compartments to put. I can put my iPad and do some editing on the road. I have little compartments to put my phone, my glasses. It's just very spacious. I don't feel cramped up at all. I can reach into the back very easily and get my electronics bag or whatever I need to do. I love the console. There's like a deep console in the middle.
Yeah, like
I thought of another thing I love.
What?
This huge screen.
Oh yeah,
the huge widescreen.
The LCD display.
Yeah, the display. I love that. That is really nice because, you know, you don't have to, you can see it very clearly to change the settings on the climate control and things such as that.
The backup camera.
Backup camera's nice. Yeah.
Phone display and other things like that.
Right. So yeah, it's really cool. It's a very, very comfortable truck to travel in. I have one little issue, and that's getting in it because we don't have step sides on this vehicle. And I do have to grab the handle, what do you call that, the roll bar handle?
Well, yeah, I guess that's
that's
what some people call it. Growing up, we called it something else. But
okay, well, by the door, you grab the handle and pull myself up in it because it does sit a little bit high off the ground. And I'm tall, I'm 5'8". So, and it still takes me a little bit to get up in it. You know, and as I age, that, you know, I would like to have step sides. Look how pretty.
So,
just to make it easier to get up in it. It's very comfortable. So and we haven't had any issues with it, have we, baby? It's been a good truck.
It's been a real good truck. So as the driver of this tow vehicle, one of the things that I added early on was this little holder for cell phone. Here's my cell phone. It just slides right in place. The holder is by Pro Clip, and you order the holder specifically for the vehicle you're driving. And it's really nice because it's right there. I can see it while I'm driving. I can use my Waze traffic app, and I could use a short cord when I plug it in for charging. Because anybody that knows those that uses a traffic app, they drain your battery pretty quick. When you go to ProClip's website, you lay out the vehicle you have and the model you have and the model phone you have, and it will give you suggested clips that you secure to the vehicle somewhere. And if this isn't a piece of tape, at least mine isn't. It's not tape you stick on something or a magnet. It actually clips it to the dashboard, and it's really out of the way. If you go to ProClip's website, you'll see that there are options for different kind of vehicles, not just trucks. The ProClip model I got, it's fastened on the right side of my instrument cluster. So it's in between my field of view of the steering wheel. It's on the right side of the steering wheel, and on the left side is the instrument cluster. So as I'm driving, it's no different than me looking down at the dashboard to see my navigation. And I use my phone for navigation. I use the Waze app. When Angel and I travel, we place stuff in the back of the truck, in the back seat of the cab. The back seats fold up, and there's a platform that folds down, and we put maybe an ice chest or a soft ice chest back there for drinks, or maybe even snacks. We have a little box that I keep my camera gear in, not just video camera, but still photography camera. And right behind Angel, we usually keep a little pen for Jilly to hang out in. It's made out of, it's a soft, you'll see, we'll show it to you in a second. It's a soft enclosure that keeps her in one place. It's just you can't run around all over the back. Because some dogs, once they get used to traveling with you, they want to jump up in the front, which really, to me, is kind of dangerous. But she can stand up and she can look out the window, and if I put the window down, she can stick her nose out, you know, dogs like that. So one of the things I really like about this particular model Ram is this little section back here. The seats fold up just like that, and this little platform folds out. It's pretty easy, and of course the same on the other side. And it's real handy when you're using it for traveling. We could put whatever cargo, whatever camera gear, or ice chest. And even on the other side, we put a little pin for Jilly to hang out in. And let me show you how that looks. So this is what we use for Jilly in the truck. Fits in pretty good, right there. We don't use this too much while she's traveling with us, but there's a little doorway. So anyway, we set Jilly down, we put her in there, and while we're traveling, she could get up, she could kind of walk around, she could put her little paws up by the window and look out the window like dogs do. And yes, we do keep her on the leash, and we secure the leash on this little latch over here so that she can't really jump out of it. So as far as the back of the truck goes, we like that. As a matter of fact, it's going to be difficult for me to have any other vehicle where the back seats don't fold up and this platform comes down, because we're so used to it. It's just very handy. So that platform is really a plus to me. And I don't know if Ford has it, Chevrolet has it, GMC has it. I don't know what other truck companies have it. If you've got one in yours, let me know in the comments, because I'm really curious what other trucks have that. And something else, while towing, I often do this little number here. On this display, I hit rear camera. And as we're driving down the road, I can actually make sure none of my connections fell off. I can make sure my safety chains are attached. And over here, you can't quite see it, but this is where the connection is for the camper. You know, if maybe you hit a rough patch of highway and you think, oh my gosh, it just jarred the camper all to bits. I hit the camera and I get to look at the connections, make sure everything's good. And at least within this area, I can make sure that everything that I'm towing is fine. This right here, I've heard it called Tonneau. I think Tonneau is it. I think you're right.
The teacher in me wants to pronounce it Tonneau.
Okay, Tonneau Sport. Honestly, the reason I got the tonneau cover is because it looks cool. That was why I got it. It looked cool. However, it's really nice to be able to cover everything in the back. When you're going down the interstate, you don't have to worry about buffering wind, blowing stuff out of there, especially when I have those cargo crates. The tops don't really secure that well, and going down the highway at 65 miles an hour will probably blow right off. But it's really easy. Sometimes when I need to get in the back of the truck and we're camping, I don't have to peel the thing all the way back. I just peel it this far back to access stuff from right here. If it's a good day, I'll never use any of those two crates in the back. And it just comes up. So another thing about this truck that I changed, I considered an upgrade, maybe it's not an upgrade, is the truck comes with Goodyears. I put Cooper tires on here. And I found 60,000 mile Cooper tires. These are really just good for the highway. I've been stuck in wet grass before with it, and it's a two-wheel drive truck, not a four-wheel drive. But these are really good tires. They last a while. They've lasted a while. They ride well. They tow well, and they're just decent. The Ram 1500 came with Goodyear tires. I've never been a fan of Goodyear tires. I think they're probably excellent tires for the first 5,000 miles, and after that, their wet traction just goes down so quickly. My first tire change, and let me go back to the Goodyear. I forgot which Goodyear I had, but I do remember they were 60,000 mile tires. So 40,000 miles into my driving this pickup, I had to get another tire change. I drive interstate. I commute on the interstate. I do very little city driving in this pickup truck. So I felt like 40,000 miles on those tires was really kind of wasn't good at all. I do know that Goodyear's 60,000 mile tires only lasted me 40,000 miles. So I replaced them with Cooper tires. And I think these are the Cooper HT Evolutions or Evolutions. I'll show you that in a second. I have gotten 60,000 miles out of these tires. This is on the truck right now, my second set of Cooper tires. And I've gotten 60,000 miles out of them. Well, I've gotten 60,000 out of the first one, and I'm about halfway through the second set right now. And I'm very happy with them. They're excellent for a light truck. They're really excellent for towing a camper. They are not good for any kind of off-road use at all. Angel had to pull me out of wet grass one time with her Jeep. It was embarrassing. You know how embarrassing it is to have your wife have to come pull you out because you're stuck in the grass? They are rated for this particular truck, the LT. Of course, the truck has tire sensors on the inside that I can see through the display, but I do have a separate tire gauge that I use to check the trailer tires all the time. Again, if you're new to towing, something else you want to consider, if it's a windy day, the wind will blow your big sail of a camper back there around, and it'll be a little unnerving, especially if there's a lot of traffic around. And I'm saying that because it's kind of windy out there today, and it's blowing the back of the camper around right now. I have a truck about to pass me up. Maybe you'll be able to notice the pull that it does. Yeah, there it goes. I do find if I kind of favor the right side of the lane when they're coming up, I don't feel it as much. But I can't do that when it's a 3-lane highway. So I'm gonna get off the interstate. Let y'all see what that's like. Disengage cruise control. And if you're new to towing, don't worry, this is easy. You got this. It might be a little nerve-wracking first few miles, but if you got any time behind the wheel of a vehicle, you'll get the feel for it really quick. Probably the biggest thing to consider if you're new to towing is remember when you're pulling into a service station or a gas station or store or anywhere you're pulling in and you have your camper behind you. Just remember that you have your camper behind you, and not everybody or every parking spot can accommodate a camper or a trailer. So here's a good example. I'm fixing to turn into this service station or this convenience store to get some gasoline. This fella didn't make it easy, did he? Take the outside gas pumps. I like to take the outside gas pumps because it's easier to get into and out of. There we go. And when I'm not getting fuel, I try to park as far out of the way as I can, not to impede any kind of traffic coming in and out of these convenience stores. I'm going to show you all my setup right here. This is how I got mine rigged up. I got my chain kind of looped around a little bit so it doesn't drag so low. And if the camper ever does come off the hitch, it'll catch faster. I go around the other side. Right here is my trailer brake, my emergency brake. So if the trailer ever comes off of the hitch, it'll yank this pin out right here and stop, and the trailer brakes will engage. And instead of the trailer cruising on down the interstate without a truck in it, it stops. I loop it around this way so there's not a whole lot of slack. Of course, anytime you have anything hooked up, you want to make sure it's not dragging the ground here. It'll chew it up pretty badly. So it's pretty easy stuff. Just think about it. You hook it all up, just think about it. You know, when you're turning wide, you want to have slack. Turning sharp, you want to have slack. You don't want it to drag the ground. Oh, here, right there. I don't use a regular pin. I use a bolt and a nut, and I tighten it down. And I use a cheater bar to get it on there tight. That'll keep people from stealing my hitch. At least it'll deter them a little bit. There's nothing you can break off of it. You can't really get any sawing equipment in there. And it's a little bit, well, it's probably too tight for just regular hand tools. So if you don't have a cheater bar, you're not getting that one off. I put it on there pretty tight. I'm gonna get back on the interstate and let you guys hear how the engine works when I have to accelerate up to 65. Merging can be kind of scary to begin with. Merging with a camper is probably one of the most stressful parts of towing. Alright, back up to 65. And that's it. I'm in 6th gear. Just a purring along. And there's some other things I'll probably think of after I turn the camera off. But you know, for the most part, you know, that's what I think about this Ram 1500. It is a really good tow vehicle. Had I known earlier on that I'd be towing a camper, I would have probably searched for a few more features, like the tow mirrors would be one, the trailer brake would be another one. I would prefer to have a diesel engine for long distance towing, but you know, for running the campgrounds in the area, and some campgrounds, you know, maybe 500 miles away, spending a week or a long weekend, this is a really excellent truck to do that. Of course, I've maintained it exactly how the owner's manual suggests. They pay those engineers for something, you know. If you have a half-ton pickup truck, tell me, you know, share your thoughts with me. Let me know. I'm curious to know. This is the only truck I've ever used for towing a camper. So, for all I know, there might be a better one out there. But if there is, wow, because this one's nice. Angel and I really enjoy camping. We enjoy getting out, spending weekends somewhere, maybe, you know, a long weekend, an extended weekend, or maybe a week. We're not full-time RVers, but we do spend a lot of time camping and RVing and hitting the roads. We just enjoy being out. Remember, folks, Angel and I do a campground drive-through and a site walk-around for every campground we visit. And we also show you some of the things you can do in the area. If you find that is helpful, subscribe to the channel. If you like this video, hit the like button. If you want more information or you want to get more notifications about where we've been and what we've done, hit the notification bell. And always, happy trails, happy camping. Rolling. Rolling. Keep that camera rolling.
You can say, hey guys, Mike from...
Hey folks, it's Mike.
Does Mike have a channel?
Hey folks, it's Mike and Angel with Retro RV Recon. Today I'm going to talk to you about our tow vehicle. And Angel is going to record us. So say hello, Angel.
Hello, Angel. What channel do you have, Mike? Retro RV Recon.
Okay.
It's the retro
Stop.
camper.
Okay, back up. You ready?
Mm-hmm.
Hey folks, it's Mike with Retro RV Recon. And today we're going to talk to you about today I'm going to talk to you about the pickup truck by our tow vehicle. The Ram 2500. That's a Ram. You ready? Hold on. Hold on. You don't believe I said that.
On the bayou, by the delta, there's a river that runs both ways, and the cypress